What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tiege pack. Tiege makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tiege Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tiege Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tiege Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tiege Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tiege pack. Feel the Tiege, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. And first, I want to just acknowledge the people that support the platform and the live stream, including my dog, Mike, that dude. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you, my friend. Samuel Silver is in the building, says fatigue because I know you don't drink coffee. I appreciate you for holding me down on Cash App. Yeah, I went ahead and put away the black t-shirt, pulled out the hoodie, and then, you know, I got my hat for me. Let me go ahead and acknowledge a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to get some housekeeping out of the way and get right to it. Sportsaholic Gerard says, good morning, Anton and fellow bag chasers. Another case of guilt with no evidence, shaking my head. Jonathan Majors got dropped faster than a Dak Prescott pass. Yeah, we're going to get to that because I got some thoughts that I couldn't get out last night. Martin Meck says, good morning, Big Dog and Chaser family. Shout out to the Chasers. What up, the King James version, straight up from Detroit. I appreciate y'all. Hey, let me get an idea of where everybody is checking in from today. Idea of where everybody is checking in from today. Let me get one post, not even one post. Just let me know where y'all checking in from. What city y'all from? State, city, country, wherever it is that you're from. Let me know where y'all checking in from today. I forgot my laptop charger, but we making it work. We're going to get it done. Set on the treadmill. Yeah, it's going to be one of those shows, Ryan. Houston, Illinois, Houston, New Orleans, OKC, Novi, CT, Tulsa, Elizabeth, Detroit, Fayetteville, London, Charlotte, Baton Rouge, Detroit, Cleveland, San Jose, Jersey City, Biloxi. Hold on, let me make sure I get everybody. Biloxi, Gotham, Illinois, Georgia, Cleveland, Trifling, New York. Listen and like. ATL is up in the building. Cologne, Germany. Shout out to my Germans out here in the building. Baton Rouge, Jersey City, Georgia, Arizona by way of Detroit, Raleigh. I can't wait to go and visit Raleigh. San Antonio, Duval County, Florida, Boston, Fort Worth, Texas, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Richmond, Virginia, Rancho Cucamonga, Southern California, McAllen, Texas, transplant from Sacramento, DFW, Houston, NY, HK, Spokane, Greensboro, Dallas, Rochester, Honolulu. I ain't even been to Hawaii before. Downtown Atlanta, Youngstown, West Palm Beach, Chicago area, Glen Bronner, Mesquite, Waco, Texas. Shout out to my dog Ash. DC suburbs, Savannah, Atlanta, Charlotte, New York City, Baltimore, Florida, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Cali, Philly, New York City, Biloxi, 404, Florida, live in ATL, DMV, Houston, Baltimore, Washington State, Miami, Florida, Dade County, Bronx, New York, Bay Area, San Antonio, Charleston, Space Coast, Florida, Indianapolis, East Jefferson, New York, Charlotte, DMV, South Carolina, Sacramento, Maryland, Fort Wayne, 3 hours from Detroit, Albany, New York, San Antonio, STL, South Africa, Wynn, Arkansas. Shout out to Bmore, Savannah, California, Durham, PG County, Chicago, Los Angeles. Can't wait to tap into y'all cities. It's going to be a great show. Listen, y'all. Get some housekeeping out of the way. I'm going to read a couple more super chats, and we're going to get right into the show. Because we got some real bringing to the front of the congregation to do this morning. So, first and foremost, make sure you shout out that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. I appreciate every single person that taps into me every single morning. You are appreciated. I'm working on some great content to be dropped inside of the Patreon. The link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And let me just give you a quick understanding of what our Patreon is. Our Patreon is basically a separation between the people that's really serious about going in the direction that you want to go in and the people that's just playing games. And so what I do is I offer a bevy of different services, opportunities to kick it with me in person. I literally travel city to city, state to state. I've been to every single city, it seems like, a major city throughout the country and some not so major. And so, it's an opportunity to kick it in person. It is a vibe. I've literally had probably the equivalent of close to 30 meetups at this point. And I also drop exclusive content. So in addition to uncensored interviews that you will not find anywhere in its entirety, we also drop content related to business. I give you an update. I show my brokerage account. I show my bank accounts. I show what it is that I make on content creation. I break down and I help you to understand how to maximize your profits. I help you to understand everything from a business perspective, how to level up in corporate America, strategies in order to 10x your business and make sure you're making the most profit, mastermind sessions, invest in your business series where I actually put my own money up. I invested in so many entrepreneurs over this past 2 or 3 weeks to where I actually contributed over $21,000 into their business and took no equity into it. We also have a Discord that's attached to any of the most recent posts. And it's going to be going up. And I'm expecting for the Patreon to be bigger and better coming up in the next year. So if you're looking to align yourself with people that's going up in the direction that you're going in, no games, all work, all gas, no breaks, and make sure you tap into the Patreon. It is a great, phenomenal avenue for you to align yourself with great people and do great work, all right? If you have not live streamed the Q show last night, shout out to Tamara, a.k.a. Sriracha. I appreciate you, baby. If you have not watched the live stream from last night from Q Show, it was crazy last night. Crazy. Which kind of sort of inspired me for what it is that we're going to be live streaming about today, because we ain't doing nothing but bringing people to the front of the congregation. It's 100% congregation visits today on the Millionaire Morning Show. 100% congregation visitation on the Millionaire Morning Show today, all right? So listen, again, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. So I guess the system of white supremacy don't have nothing to do with this terrible racist case. No, it doesn't. The case with Jonathan Majors has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with gender. But we going to get there. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm because it's always low. I'm doing this show exclusively on YouTube today. We're not doing no Facebook. Facebook, we're going to get back to that tomorrow, but we're doing 100% YouTube today, so we're getting it in. All right? So let's go ahead and get started with the show. Let me go ahead and read a couple more super chats, and then we're going to get it rocking. Yoda Head Already Out is one of those shows. I'm so disappointed in my people. Glenn Bronner says, good morning, everyone. To you, AD. Anton, sir, I got the job. I used your advice, so I just wanted to say thank you. You will be getting more from me. Yo, shout out to Glenn Bronner. Listen, let me tell you something, Glenn. And all of my bag chasers that's continuing to level up and be successful, regardless of what's going on in the economy. The best way for y'all to pay me back is to make sure that you keep leveling up. Because now that we are a part of a network, the stronger we are together, right? You don't owe me nothing. Whatever advice that you took as a result of what it is that we discuss in a Patreon or coaching calls or the videos that you watched, you earned that. You utilized the information. You paid your $15 just like everybody else, and then you leveled up and you got your great job. So let me just tell you, you don't owe me nothing. The thing that you owe me is you continuing to be successful, all right? So one thing about me is that I'm always going to keep pushing you, Glenn, and this is just the beginning. Make sure you keep running it up. Make sure you keep being successful, and don't think that you're just defined by this position that you're getting that allows for you to level up right now. You're going to be way better than that, big dog. Way better than that. So keep pushing yourself, and if you want to do anything for me, then just keep doing it for you. That's what I say to you. Shout out to Glenn again. Shout out to the Chasers. KJ is in the building, says, what up, Anton? Checking in from Atlanta. It's good seeing the Hawks put a hurting on your Pistons live last night. I don't care nothing about them Pistons. I'm not renewing next year. So jokes on them. Good morning, Anton. So your show is outstanding. Thank you, my friend. Ken J is in the building, says, I've been through what Jonathan is going through and know exactly how he feels. Feels like women can just take anything from you whenever you want. We gonna get there. Lucid Experiences in the building says, so a smoke show this will be since you this will be since you have on the Yoda hat. Shout out to y'all. I'll be reading super chats throughout the show. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the show. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. If you guys have not already subscribed, make sure you do so. And share this with your friends and family, because we don't want to be successful by ourselves. And I think that this is one of the greatest shows, if not the greatest show, not just on YouTube, but on as a content creator, period. There is nothing and nobody that is messing with what we do. Not only with the Millionaire Morning Show, but the Anton Daniels channel and After Hours is going to be crazy. It's going to be lit, y'all. I'm telling y'all. So make sure y'all tap into After Hours. That's the new channel that's recently rebranded from Fight Club. That's going to be launching in the beginning of the year, and it's going to get it popping, all right? So let me go ahead and get started with the show. Quick Hits, ladies and gentlemen. Quick Hits is a portion of the show that we don't think deserves an entire segment, right? We don't think each individual subject that we talk about on Quick Hits deserves an entire segment. Definitely going to be reading that super chat and shortly, Martin Mack. But we certainly want to bring you guys up to speed on what's going on out here in these streets, all right? So first and foremost, an LGBTQ trans activist is recently been arrested, and you wouldn't believe what they're arrested for. Take a look.
Here, a Philadelphia transgender activist identified as Kendall Stevens is now charged with sexually assaulting 2 children under the age of 13.
Action News reporter Annie McCormick, she's live for us outside police headquarters with the new details we're learning about this, Annie.
Yeah, Gray and Shari, disturbing details. Kendall Stevens was arrested today for the rape of a minor. Sources confirm that she is the same Stevens who is a prominent LGBTQ activist in the city. The state attorney general's office filed charges tonight against 37-year-old Kendall Stevens. The charges include the indecent assault against a person less than 13 years old.
Check this out. Hold on. Let's read this for a second. I don't want to skip over this. Charges include forcible compulsion, IDSI, forcible compulsion. I don't even know what that is. Unlawful contact with a minor, sexual offenses, endangering welfare of children, corruption of minors, defendant age 18 or above, indecent assault of person less than 13 years of age, and so on and so forth. Let me continue to play this, and we're going to come back and revisit it.
rape, unlawful contact with minors, sexual offenses, and endangering the welfare of children, parent or guardian. Stevens came to Action News in August of 2020 after she was attacked in her Point Breeze neighborhood. She says she was targeted by a violent group for being a trans woman. Stevens then became a prominent activist for the LGBTQ community. She urged lawmakers to change Pennsylvania's hate crime statute to include protections for LGBTQ people. She is seen here in March of 2021 at a press conference launching District Attorney Larry Krasner's LGBTQ+ Advisory Board. The board was created in part to be a source of information and resources for victims and survivors of crime within the community.
It means to me that the transgender population will finally get the support that we need from city officials that we really haven't gotten historically.
Sources tell Action News the charges are in relation to the rape of 2 young boys under the age of 13.
And let me be clear, according to the news reports that I read, they saying under the age of 13. So it's really 2 young boys they're saying, based off of what I read, 2 years old. 2 years old. No, not just under the age of 13, 2 years old.
Stevens remains in custody tonight. A spokesperson for the district attorney's office said in a statement, the investigation of allegations against her is being led by another agency, and as such, we have no comment. Now, judge did set bail at $250,000. The next court appearance is scheduled for December 29th. Often, the state attorney general's office takes on cases from local district attorney's offices if there's a conflict. For now.
So let's be clear, 37 years old, to my understanding, biologically born a male, accusations, indecent assault against an individual under the age of 13, unlawful contact involving minor sexual offenses, and jeopardizing the welfare of children, parent, or guardian, amongst others. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And so it's funny as we have these conversations and we read through this, because they're limiting. Think about this, y'all. Now, had it been me or you or any other person that operates within their normalcy, they would have threw us under the bus. Now, I know that they're arrested and they're being accused of whatever it is that they're being accused of. And I believe in innocence until proven guilty. And I believe also that we have to follow the law, because we can't convict somebody in a court of public opinion. But in reality, what you're being accused of should be entirely disclosed to us. And so don't just tell me that they're under the age of 13. I want you to also tell me that based off of what I read, according to all of these news outlets and the research, because I had to do a little bit more research, that there are people, the ones that they're actually accused of assaulting is actually around 2 years old. We're going to leave that right there. We're going to go over to the next subject. Anthony, oh shoot. Tell me that I didn't update that. Give me a second. Want to make sure that the stuff is updated, because I knew that I updated it, but apparently I didn't update it. So we just going to make sure that we get everything properly updated. All right. In other news, Anthony Edwards is being accused of paying a chick $100,000 in order to have an abortion. Unreal.
The private life of Minnesota Timberwolves superstar Anthony Edwards is playing out publicly on social media.
Edwards is responding to allegations that he paid a woman to get an abortion after cheating on his long-term girlfriend, who is also expecting a child. Reg Chapman has the story.
Anthony Edwards is leading the Minnesota Timberwolves to their hottest start in years, but now the superstar is dealing with another kind of heat after a woman accused him of paying her to get an abortion after cheating on his long-term girlfriend, who was also expectant. The allegations surfaced Monday on Instagram. The images of the text, which WCCO has not been able to independently verify, show a conversation between two parties, one of whom is allegedly Edwards. The other is model Paige Jorday, who posted the text on her Instagram page. In the text, Jorday sent a picture of her pregnancy test. The screenshot replies showing the other person instructing her to get an abortion. They also replied that they would send money. Jorday posted an Instagram story later showing a receipt for an incoming wire transfer for $100,000. According to the messages, the other person demanded video proof of Paige taking the right abortion pill and asked her to handle this like grown-ups. We reached out to representatives for Edwards and the Timberwolves for comment, but did not immediately hear back. Edwards released the following statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. I made comments in the heat of the moment that are not me, and that are not aligned with what I believe and who I want to be as a man. All women should be empowered to make their own decisions about their bodies and what is best for them. I am handling my personal matters privately and will not be commenting on them any further at this time.
You know what the funny part about this is? So obviously we all know that, or for those of you that are not familiar, because I am a big fan of the NBA, that Rashad McCants recently made an appearance, and then also Lamar Odom previously last year made an appearance and recorded, and we did some cooking up over in the studio on the podcast, right? And the interesting thing about it is that obviously Anthony Edwards is getting married and all of this stuff. And, you know, I know the sentiment of, and they giving me all of the game of what's really happening with a lot of these young NBA players. But I guess my first question is this, right? Because I know that young people do what young people do. And, you know, especially for a dude that's a budding star and he's going to be a multi-hundred millionaire and he's going to make a lot of money. First question is, why are you so adamant about getting married if you decide that you're going to be out here living recklessly and not strapping up when you busting down these chicks while you out here on the road? Secondly, why is these chicks not signing paperwork? Third, why are y'all having children with? Why are y'all out here having children with women that y'all don't want to have children with? What did you think was going to happen? Yeah, I know you're a millionaire. Yeah, I know you can send 100 bands. Now, not only is she putting your business out there, who knows if your marriage and your relationship is in turmoil or if you even signed a prenuptial agreement when you got married. And then third, you still out of 100 bands and she's still coming out here in order to ruin your reputation so she can get more visibility and clout off of you. Now, I won't go over to her Instagram and give her any kind of clout because I'm really getting disgusted with women and how in their behavior these days. But y'all keep justifying it, such as what it is that we seen last night. They say he not married, but he's acting like he's about to get married. So what are we talking about? Last but not least, Texas governor, who probably should be the president of the United States if you don't elect Trump, decided that he wanted to give police officers, sheriffs, and the arresting officers within the state the ability to be able to deal with the migrant crisis as they see fit.
The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, signing a new law that allows police to arrest migrants who enter that state illegally. The move likely setting up a showdown with the Biden administration. NBC's Morgan Chesky joins us now with more on this from Dallas. So, Morgan, what more do we know about the new law, first of all, and the reaction to it?
Yeah, Craig, good morning. Several notable changes coming with this law, starting with the fact that it will make it illegal to cross the U.S.-Mexico border anywhere except those specific legal ports of entry.
Spit it out. Spit it out, cowboy. Spit it out.
In addition to that, overnight, we're hearing from the White House, who is saying that this law is extreme and making Texas communities less safe. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said this is a necessary tool to deter migrants from the ongoing influx, and that right now we know that these numbers are only appearing to go up. As you mentioned, this empowers state authorities, state troopers, sheriff's deputies, and police officers the ability to arrest migrants on state charges, whereas currently they are not able to do so. Craig?
So at this point, Morgan, any idea how this could play out in court?
Yeah, the legal challenges could be coming from multiple fronts here, Craig. We know that civil rights groups have already threatened to sue as a result.
Think about this for a second. Civil rights groups, the very people who's complaining that the migrants are upending what's happening within their communities and their neighborhoods, are the ones that are threatening to sue Greg Abbott for what it is that he's doing in order to try to protect our borders. Interesting.
Result of this being what they call unconstitutional. Congressional Democrats also leaning on the Justice Department to push back, but we could be seeing another showdown between the state of Texas and the White House, which would be similar to another challenge we've recently seen. A court recently ruling against that 1,000-foot border buoy in the Rio Grande that Texas Governor Greg Abbott called a vital tool in deterring migrants. And legal experts say that this could prompt a revisiting of a 2012 Arizona immigration law, pitting the state against the federal government. In that case, Craig, the court sided with the federal government, but Texas Governor Greg Abbott is confident that this law will stand and it takes effect come March.
So Greg Abbott decides that he wants to take a stand for the American people, and more importantly, the people that's in his state. And he's being fought. Keep in mind what's happening here. He's literally being fought by the Biden administration, the president, civil rights groups, and people that continue to run in the Victim Olympics. I got so many thoughts, but we going to revisit this. I got a long show and a good show for y'all today because we got some people that we want to bring to the front of the congregation. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your Quick Hits. Let me go ahead and read some super chats, and we're going to get started right with the show. Martin Meck is in the building. I appreciate you, Martin, with the fireball. Says, the simps and feminists dictate society as of now. Our peers are the jury, and the verdict will reflect the loudest voice in the room culture-wise. It's sad, too. Wealth Building Journey says, time. Passport Bros is up. Hashtag passport. I would never. Let me keep my thoughts to myself because I'm going to share my thoughts shortly. AL says Majors is an example of what happens when you refuse to put on that dress or refuse to do the freak-offs. You catch dangerous charges. If not DVSA, they can put you on a text with YSL. Now you on a RICO case. Shout out to my dog AL. I appreciate you for the super chat. Let me go ahead and get started with this Jonathan Majors situation. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Majors found guilty. Found guilty. Let me bring you up to speed according to what the news is reporting.
Some breaking news tonight about actor Jonathan Majors. Marvel Studios just dropped the once rising star after a jury in New York found him guilty of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend. Marvel was building a movie franchise around Majors before his arrest in March. CBS's Drika Duncan was in court today for the verdict.
Tonight, Jonathan Majors walked out of court with heavy security after being found guilty of assault and harassment. He was acquitted of 2 other charges that required prosecutors to show Majors intentionally committed those acts.
Do you think your son got a fair trial?
The 34-year-old star has dimmed since he was arrested in March after a fight with his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. He played roles in Marvel films and Creed 3, but it was his performance in the TV series Lovecraft Country that made Hollywood take notice. During deliberations, the jury asked to re-watch surveillance video from the incident in slow motion, where it appears Majors shoves Jabari into a black Escalade. Another video shows Jabari running after Majors following the incident. She testified she grabbed Majors' phone after seeing a text message from another woman. In a criminal complaint, Jabari accused Majors of assaulting her, leaving a cut behind her ear and fracturing her finger. CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman.
That Jonathan Majors did not intend to cause any physical harm to this woman. But what Jonathan Majors did, by virtue simply of his actions, his size, his strength, was create a substantial risk of physical injury.
Majors and his family did not speak to the media as they left the court today. Grace Jabari, who was not in the courtroom when the verdict was read, did release a statement saying she was, quote, gratified to see justice served.
And this, remember, y'all, remember, this is a woman. This is a woman that at a lot of points told this man that she loved him. Told this man that she loved him, was riding his wave, his coattails, the whole 9 yards. And now Marvel has dropped Jonathan Majors after this man basically fought his entire life to be recognized and now has an opportunity to really be able to take off. He's lost everything. Let's continue.
Good morning, Jonathan.
It's a bizarre rant as actor Jonathan Majors berates his ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari. Majors is upset that she'd gone out partying.
Do you really go, baby? Do you really?
Yes.
Then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a...
Listen to what he's saying. This is what they call abuse. I want y'all to really understand and take in the gravity of what's happening right now. Okay? I really want y'all to understand the gravity. He says, how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan? This is abuse, according to what the media and the jury found him guilty of. So the man set boundaries. She's out doing God knows what at God knows what time of the night. She's also setting him up. Let's take into consideration the entire context of what's happening. Because she's intentionally recording him, which means that she's already lying to you because she's making adjustments to her behavior, considering that she knows that she's the one that's recording. So she's recording him, basically set boundaries to say, how dare you come into the home that I'm paying for drunk and disturb the peace of the house when we had a plan?
He then tells Jabari that she needs to emulate two iconic women.
Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama. Barack Obama's wife.
I know, I'm not. I shouldn't have gone out. I'm sorry.
The ex-girlfriend secretly recorded the argument in 2022.
I'm a great man. A great man.
Now remember, she recorded this in 2022, which has no bearing on what it is that he's being accused of, that we seen on footage him running away from her and her chasing him. Right? Let's put it in perspective. So that means for the entirety of the time that he's been with her, he's been sleeping with the enemy. I don't care about the dynamics of who it is that he's referencing, or if it's a white woman or a black woman or whatever, so on and so forth. What I care about and what I'm passionate about and what I've been speaking about a lot over the last few years is the things that men endure through, but yet y'all want to continue to discount us and have a conversation about what men should do when it comes to being leaders within our households. What we not having a conversation about is how she's been setting him up, recording him, and holding on to content for just this very moment. She's been holding on to, listen, any woman, any person, but any woman that is recording your conversations and waiting for the perfect opportunity to accuse you of doing something that is egregious in order to ruin your life. And I've been saying this for an extended period of time, that the person that you lay next to is the most important decision that you're ever going to make in your entire life. Business, relationship, personal. It will completely ruin your life if you are laying with or think that you're sleeping with somebody that's telling you they love you, but they've been secretly recording you, trying to make sure that they set you up. It's crazy. It's crazy. So he talking about how great of a man he is, and he doing great things, not just for me.
I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in.
So it sounds like he understands the gravity of what it is that he's about to embark on and how it is that he needs to be portrayed. And so he's very, very careful about the fact that you can't be coming in here drunk and disrespecting and being an extension of me. And think about it. This man wasn't even married. He wasn't even married. But yet y'all keep talking about and having a conversation about what men and what women go through and how women are the least protected. That's not what I'm seeing right here. They took his entire ability to be able to provide for himself in one fell swoop.
Defense rested its case without calling Jonathan Majors to the stand, but the actor was seen wiping away tears as his attorney made closing arguments to the jury in which she accused the ex-girlfriend of telling little white lies and also big lies. Anything to say about the video evidence, Jonathan? As the jury deliberates, they will consider this jaw-dropping surveillance tape where it appears Jabari is pursuing Majors after a physical back and forth in the SUV over a text he received from another woman named Cleopatra. And then the big moment where Majors is accused of pushing her back into the SUV. The next day is when Jabari is found on the floor of the walk-in closet.
Jesus Christ. Is it okay to say that I'm absolutely disgusted with what it is that I see happening nowadays? Is it fair to say that I'm disgusted? I'm absolutely positively disgusted. Look at this foolishness, y'all. Oh my God. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to have love at all? Is this love?
Majors.
And this is after she was out here in these streets partying right after that?
Called cops when he couldn't get inside.
I banged on the door. I've been at the apartment for about 40 minutes now. I couldn't get in. I finally went downstairs and asked the doorman to help us. They let me in via the handyman.
In the aftermath, cops are seen talking to Majors. They look around the apartment, from the bedroom with the unmade bed to the sprawling living room area. Majors is seen on the phone. Then Jabari surfaces dressed in a sweatshirt and jeans. She leaves the apartment and is seen making calls on the elevator.
And hello, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips.
And I'm Terry Miranda. We've got some breaking news. The jury in the Jonathan Majors domestic violence trial has found him guilty of 1 count of assault and 1 count of harassment, but acquitted him of another count of assaulting his former girlfriend. This comes after jurors spent 4 or 5 hours deliberating over portions of several days. And this is a case that has gotten a lot of attention. Jonathan Majors, a major rising star, and he met a crisis in this, and the jury has now returned with its verdict.
And there was a lot of talk about this trial impacting his future in the movie business. Rising star within the Marvel movies. Our legal contributor, Brian Buckmeyer, has been following this from the very beginning as well. So I guess let's first of all talk about the charges here. Brian, your first reaction.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of scratching my head just because I'm looking at the different charges, and let me break it down and explain. There are 2 different assaults here. One is intentional assault and one is reckless assault. Based on the number order that they're telling us, my guess, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong, is they're acquitting him of intentional assault, but finding him guilty of reckless assault, meaning that he just did something he should have known better, and it caused the injury of Grace Jabari. Then he's found not guilty of aggravated assault, which is to alarm, annoy, harass, or threaten someone and subject them to physical violence. But he's not guilty of that, but he is guilty of alarming and annoying Grace Jabari. To me, this sounds like we call it a King Solomon decision. They literally just split the baby and said half and half, but some of the convictions and some of the acquittals don't really make sense when you put them all together.
Well, Brian, let me try to make a little sense. I wonder, I don't know the exact fact pattern since I wasn't in the courtroom, but couldn't you say that in the fury of what is a domestic dispute, he was reckless in his handling, in his physical handling of Jabari, and that was the reckless assault? And the harassment is he lost his temper rather than consciously went after her. Does that make sense?
No, because it would make sense for the reckless and then the aggravated harassment, because the aggravated harassment is harassing someone through physical violence. So why find him guilty of assaulting recklessly, but not guilty of harassing someone through physical force? That's the part that I'm thinking someone just kind of said, you know what, right, we'll find him guilty for 2, but not guilty for these 2. But it could work. Someone's got to talk to the jury, I guess.
You know, honestly, I'm absolutely disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted. And I think this is disrespectful This is unfortunate. Let me give you my thoughts, right? Let me give you my thoughts. What this proves, in my opinion, because we got a lot to get to today, what this proves, in my opinion, with Jonathan Majors not only being convicted and facing up to a year in jail from being accused, and I know everybody want to deflect, and let me tell you what they want you to do. They want you to deflect, and they want you to say, see, it's a black-white issue. It's not. It's not. It's a gender issue. It's a gender issue. It's not a black-white issue. They want to distract you by telling you that it's systematic and that because she was a white woman and he was a black man, that's the reason why he's losing everything. And Marvel is deciding to drop him from, and he's the only thing left in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they have planned to actually save the franchise, but they'd rather torpedo the franchise, in which now I'm looking at Marvel and I'm saying, I'm giving them two huge big middle finger ups, right? So I'm absolutely positively done with Disney altogether. The only way that we are able to, in any way, shape, or form as men, control the narrative is to no longer, trust me, there's plenty of other things to take your kids to see. You don't have to take them to see any of these trash agenda-filled movies that's being facilitated and created in order to try to push an agenda on your children anyway. I had already dropped Disney Plus. I already had sold their stock. I thought that they was a badly run company. They're going into the ground. ESPN is absolutely trash now. They're trying to spend a whole bunch of money with Pat McAfee and Shannon Sharp in order to try to save the sports side of the boat anyway. And so for me, I'm completely done with Disney altogether. I will no longer be watching anything related to Disney because they decided to go with this woke agenda in order to do the right thing. And what Jonathan Majors proved was a few different things, and I'm going to tell you what it is. The first thing that Jonathan Majors proved is that your actions or whatever it is that you're being accused of will always trump, as a man, your character. And not only your character, because I didn't hear anything that he said was actually wrong or disrespectful. It will also trump your talent. And the interesting thing is, and it leads me to point number 2, is that as a man, and we've been saying this for over and over and over and over again, that as a man, you are not protected. You are by default going to be held accountable for by society, regardless of whether you're guilty or not. Nobody cares. Nobody cares where his next meal is coming from. Nobody cares about all of the time and the effort and the work that he put into his craft. Nobody cares about the fact that he wasn't actually guilty and he didn't do anything wrong except for set boundaries and standards for himself and decide that he wanted to align himself with the wrong person. Which leads me to point number 3. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? And every man, I know that y'all want me to advocate for marriages and relationships because I've been married for an extended period of time. But ask yourself this question. If in the swoop of a phone call, in the very instance of an accusation, you can lose because see, this is one of the rare instances. We've seen an opportunity where Johnny Depp lost probably hundreds of millions of dollars, but then at the same time, he had to spend probably just as much or more in monies lost because it cost him everything, and you haven't seen Johnny Depp in another movie since in order to defend himself against Amber Heard, who conversely is still in Aquaman 2. She went on to work and make more money. And how soon we forget about what happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And right after he got acquitted and she just continued to walk away, she wound up being she not only is in the movie, but she's also in the trailer for Aquaman 2. And you know what people still gonna do? They still gonna see it. You know why? Because nobody cares about the things that women do to men. But conversely, you say that you want equal, but it's not equal results because society is still gonna hold Jonathan Majors accountable. And so what happens is, he loses everything. He didn't even have to have a baby with her. He didn't have to marry her. He didn't have to do anything but be accused of something and set up by somebody, because anybody in their right mind that was on that jury could also, or they should have at the very least, say, well, why was she recording him in the first place, but she was still with him all the way up until the moment where she accused him of doing something, even though we can see him running away from her on camera. Why would she be screenshotting and recording and setting him up? Is her very action, the way in which she's operating around him, disingenuous from the very beginning? That's the first thing that I would have asked myself is why is she hitting the record button in the first place? Ain't that weird to y'all? Y'all don't see this as a play? But regardless, every day you're convicted in a court of public opinion and you lose everything. I've seen corporate executives based off of what somebody said that they did and they couldn't even substantiate it with evidence, real evidence. I've seen people every single day. There's guys getting out of jail every single day. Every day, men are getting out of jail based off of the Innocence Project now that we have the technology to be able to prove that they didn't do what they said that they was accused of. And there's countless other men that is going to continue to rot in prison and jail based off of what they're being accused of, not what you can prove that they actually did. Every day, based off of an accusation from somebody. He did this to me, he did that to me, so on and so forth. They're being accused, convicted, and they spending, you don't get a second chance. They spending decades in prison only to be released. And prosecutors looking to make a name and a case off of them and using women as the tool to do so in order to make sure that they take a person down. And that's what they'll be known for the rest of their life. You are the play. And then you wonder why I'm so careful, why I'm advocating for dick discipline, why I say that men are under attack, and yet you want me to overlook all of the circumstances in an environment where they have to hopefully make the right decision based off of maybe having some level of experience with women, and they just can't move in authenticity and say that I love you and then genuinely want the best for you. But under every circumstance, under every rock, there's a tool that's being leveraged against you. And if you make one wrong move, if you pick up your finger too fast, you can be accused. If you say no too fast, if you set some standards and boundaries, you can be accused. If you decide that you don't want to be in a relationship anymore with a person that's cheating on you, they can take half of your stuff. If you have a child with them, they can leverage your kids against you in order to continue to prop up the family court system that is making billions every single year on men. And yet I'm supposed to sit here and then listen to you disrespect us and tell us what we supposed to do when you won't even hold your own sisters accountable? The very thing that you got recruited for that made y'all sisters, y'all were sisters in this feminine movement, this feminist movement, and you decided that y'all wanted to go with each other, in with each other, and ruin your own families, and now you leveraging the system and the courts in order to continue to make money. No way in the world you're going to convince me to believe that over 2,500 people, because I'm going to tell you what I think the play is, not what it is that you think the play is. See, this wasn't just taking him down. This was an opportunity probably to set him up for a civil lawsuit on top of it. See, you're not looking at the long-term play. First comes the criminal complaint, and then based off of the fact that they were able to convict you, and not only do you lose your stuff, you now work for her if she's able to get a civil judgment through based off of her ability to be able to get you convicted for free because the state spent money in order to do so. It's a finesse. It's a finesse. It's the biggest finesse that men will ever experience in their entire life. Yet we're supposed to run up behind you and you think that this is a race thing and it's not a play thing based off of what? Money, opportunity, feminism, emasculation. You take your pick. This is the things that men are facing on a regular basis. No way in the world at 41 years old could you convince me to ever make myself available to anybody else going forward based off of the evidence and the things that I see on a regular basis. No way in the world. Ain't no telling how much he's costing him in lawyer fees up to this point. He had just started to get money. I'm not even sure that Jonathan Majors was rich yet. He had just started to get money. Still had to pay his agent fees, still had to, you know what I'm saying, pay his taxes and all of this stuff. He had just started to take off. He wasn't really making no money yet. He had just started getting money. He was just on his way to becoming a superstar. Before his light could even take off and him becoming a phoenix, it's already put out by the water that you threw on him. Randy said this should have been quick hits. Why? So if we talking about holding somebody else accountable for the things that they go to men, then all of a sudden we supposed to just go over it. It's supposed to be a 3-minute take, right? But if I actually see something that I disagree with and I want to stand on the behalf of what's right, because this ain't even standing for men. This is just standing on what's right. All of a sudden I'm supposed to just do a quick hits. Hey, get this out of the way and keep it moving. Don't you understand the implications that this have on all men? If Jonathan Majors can't even defend himself against false accusations from people that already had it intentionally set up for him to lose, what makes you think that any of us have a chance in hell if we ever was to get, you know what I'm saying, accused of something that we didn't do? If Jonathan Majors, one of the hottest stars, can't even defend himself, what makes you think that we got a chance in hell if we don't start to really address the root of the problem and the issues, especially from a group of women that refuse to update family court laws because they know that it works in their favor? I'm amazed. And not only am I amazed, let me just say my last point. This also shows me how much you really ain't for us. Because if you can't stand up for us and with us in things that's actually in your best interest, then that also tells me that you're not really on our team. If you think that this is just something that we supposed to skip over and you don't even hold your sisters accountable, then that tells me that you ain't really for us. You ain't for us, you for you. It's what you can get out of us. And as soon as you don't see us as valuable to you anymore, or you don't think that we're going to still be with you, it's not about what's best for us, because that's not love. See, you conflate what love is based off of what the world told you from what God said that love is. Love is something different. Love is an action word. It's not a feeling. It's not something that you can just say that you feel towards somebody and then you do them dirty. That's not love. You can't tell me that you love me as your brother. You keep telling me that you stand with us as men, yet you continue to let your women continue to do things against us. And I'm supposed to continue to say, oh, no, guys, you shouldn't seek real love and people that actually value you outside of the United States of America. No longer will I sit here and hold people accountable for getting a passport and exploring their options anymore. I think that they absolutely should. I think that they absolutely should. Nowhere in the world will I sit here and ever say anything to any man that decides that he wants to take an opportunity to seek love, fulfillment, happiness, and to be complete as a man elsewhere. Don't come to me talking about, oh my God, you're not pro-black because they not married to a sister or whatever. I don't even think that they should even take into consideration what you say anymore at all. I think that everybody is on their own. It's a free-for-all right now. It's a free-for-all right now. Absolutely, positively a free-for-all. Figure out how it is that you can be successful and make it make sense for you, because let me tell you something. Ain't nobody gonna come to your aid and ain't nobody gonna save you. Ain't nobody saving you. Look, bro, from the very beginning, we all knew. From the very beginning, we all knew. What do we know? We knew that it wasn't nobody that was going to come and save us. Men, when we born, we know this. This is one of the reasons why I'm adamant about guys suffering when they're young, so that they understand the circumstances and the consequences that come along with every single decision when they get older. Because when you get older, everything is exponentially multiplied. So I tell guys this all the time, and I say, listen, it's important for you to let your son go through it. Not because we want them to suffer, but because we want them to learn a lesson, and we want them to be very, very careful, because society is unforgiving, and it takes one thing, one mess up, one problem, one issue, or one accusation that completely ruins your life and you gone forever. And you don't get a redo, you don't get a respawn or anything like that. And so if you won't stand with me, then that means that you're standing against me. And so now I have to look at you as my enemy, because at the first sign of duress or the first opportunity that you can take in order to use me, in order to get a bag, we see it happening with all of these lawsuits in New York City. We see men being falsely accused. We see what happened with Jonathan Majors. We see y'all leveraging the child support court against Tyrese. We see every single day what is happening and what is playing out, and you telling us not to protect ourselves, but for some reason we supposed to protect you at the duress of ourselves, and you're not even for us? How can I in good conscience tell my guys that they supposed to be seeking you out when I don't even know if you the devil? You a demon in sheep's clothing, acting like you under duress, but in reality, I've seen too many of y'all place guys in y'all and they phone as food. I've seen too many women show up with guys that they didn't even know and willing to do things that they otherwise wouldn't do with a guy that actually showed that they love them. And I know that your intentions are bad. So how can I in good conscience tell my guy or lead them into the fire, into the burning house, knowing that you waiting in there with gasoline and a match willing to throw it on the floor? What community? What culture? What togetherness? I'm supposed to stand with you? And the entire time you standing and plotting against me on my demise and my downfall? Somebody said discernment is key. No, it's not discernment. It's doing what's right. Holding people accountable for being disrespectful and evil and demonic. It's not about discernment. I shouldn't have to figure out what your intentions are. See, the right thing is we should be able to walk down the street without getting our head cracked over because crime is wrong. The reality is that we should be able to go outside and do the things that we're supposed to do as long as it's not illegal without somebody plotting to take our lives from us. We should be able to tell you that we love you and not worry about whether or not you got a knife behind your back to figure out whether I could discern whether or not they really want it. Is they not? No, I shouldn't have to use discernment. Do I have to? Absolutely. Do I have to be situationally aware and keep my head on a swivel? Yeah, but that's not what it was for. It wasn't for the person that you lay next to. It's unfortunate that we sit here and have this conversation, yet we really don't understand what it means to be right. And so what we do is we spend time making sure that we still hold men accountable, yet nobody is going to remember her name tomorrow, and she's going to go on and live her life, and she's going to forget all about him. Probably going to get a payday as a result of it. Come on, man. Come on, man. What we doing? Don't ever sit here and tell me that Anton holds too many women accountable when you don't even hold yourselves accountable. Because I wouldn't have to do it if you was doing it for yourself. Let me read some of these super chats. Let's continue with the show. I want to acknowledge everybody that contributed to the platform. J-Hub in the building says Coretta Scott King wasn't coming home drunk. Facts. And they still want to slander her name. I've seen women talk negatively about Coretta Scott King for holding down Martin. Kung Fu Hustler says if the National Guard decided to stop the infiltration at the border, the problem would be solved. Nope. Because it takes the people. It takes the people. Black Jesus in the building says she's been a demon in real time. Fellas, be careful. Appreciate you. Love dating in Los Angeles. Says this is one instant where they don't feel men and women aren't equal. Ryan Isaac is in the building. Says it's starting to look like men going their own way. Save yourself, black men and passport bros were ahead of their time. AL says we seeing him set up from day one an industry plant. Nope. The industry plants are the women that's actually doing the damage. Lamar Black Attack says another passport bro created. JC Incorporated says AD, I've been single man for a long time and I love it. I don't blame you, bro. DJ Kane in the building says praying for our men. Amen. Thank you, my friend. Time Out is in the building says, so instead of him going to jail for a crime, how much money does he have to pay her? I'm assuming she wants money. They saying that he's facing up to a year. I don't know what he's going to do. But more importantly, he lost his deals. Chris Moore says passport bros for life. Kung Fu Hustlers in the building says, Anton, are you covering Vivek cussing out Van Jones? That's tomorrow. I got you. Don't worry. I got it all on the docket. I can't include everything in one show. Lamar Black Attack is in the building says, dude ran away and still lost millions. Forsaken Archives is in the building, says New York has crazy laws. They did the same to Tupac, and more now Majors. Hedging Mastermind is in the building. I appreciate you. Says, do you think Majors being convicted was punishment from white supremacy for dating a white woman, knowing he would lose his role? Nope. I think that it was a gender thing. Motown Mo is in the building. I appreciate you for the 2-ball. Real is in the building. Says, AD is correct. It's not a race thing. It's a gender thing. My ex-wife put me in the exact same position. Only difference is I'm not a millionaire. And most guys don't even have the resources to be able to defend themselves in court. Next Level MF says, people need to be aware of the company that they keep. Or maybe people need to be aware of not doing other people wrong. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Let me go ahead and continue with the show. Tiffany Henyard. So a lot of people realize or probably notice, and they've been actually hitting me up, and they say, Anton, are you going to still cover Tiffany Henyard? Anton, are you going to still cover Tiffany Henyard? Anton, well, I had reserved myself from covering it. And one of the reasons that I had reserved or, prevented myself from covering it, I see over 2,000 people in here and the likes is incredibly low. So I'm going to need y'all to get the likes up. I'm going to need y'all to get the likes up or we're going to go to a T.J. Hanley commercial. They said, Anton, why haven't you been covering Tiffany Henyard? I said, well, and I'm going to be honest with you. I felt a little bad for her. I do. My heart felt a little bad for her because I was like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? I just was doing a couple little shows based off of what information was provided. And so I wanted to explore. I didn't want to actually get her in no trouble or anything like that. And then that junk just started spreading like wildfire. And so, you know me, I reach out to the people. And then some people reached out to me as a result of me being tied to some people that may know what's going on over there or whatever, so on and so forth, right? And so I says, okay, well, let me go ahead and just put my request out. Give her an opportunity to be able to speak her piece, right? Because I always want to get both sides. It's very easy to just tell it from one perspective from people that don't like you. But sometimes information turns into misinformation. And so we don't know what it is. And so again, talk to multiple different people, multiple different times, put the request out. Never heard nothing back after they called me and contacted me. One of her assistants called me and said, hey, Tom, and then it was like, And you know what the interesting part about it is? I know that they watch my show. I know for a fact that they watch my show. So I had reserved myself and I said, well, you know what? Let me just see how this plays out. Let me see how it plays out. I want to see how things go. It's only so much you can ignore. Because when I see things play out the way that it's continuing to play out, I got to bring you back to the front of the congregation. So this is the latest debacle and fiasco of what's happening over in Dolton, small city of Dolton, right outside of Chicago. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you have not joined the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
But would you advise one of your candidates to do something like that using taxpayer funds?
No, not using taxpayer funds.
Okay, so if you've driven one of the expressways in the south suburbs recently, you've no doubt seen one of these giant billboards. They feature the name and the face of a smiling local politician. What you may not know is the money for these billboards is coming out of taxpayers' pockets, and that's raising questions.
Let me go get some
for
water.
Tiffany Henyard, the Dolton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, who has already come under fire for spending public money promoting herself.
Dane Placco has the latest chapter in his ongoing investigation into Henyard's questionable spending.
Take a drive to the south suburbs and you can't miss them. 4 giant billboards featuring Tiffany Henyard's name in large letters, along with her picture, smiling down on the thousands of cars going by on Interstate 57 and the Bishop Ford Expressway. What are they advertising? One says fresh produce, another senior services, and this one simply says we offer general assistance. There's a phone number, but you wouldn't know what it's for unless you can read in teeny tiny letters, Thornton Township Supervisor, as you're speeding by. These are the billboards that have gone up along the expressways. We showed the billboards to Bert Odelson, an election attorney who's been working in Illinois politics for 50 years.
When I first looked at it, I thought, what is she running for now?
because that's what it shouts out.
Odelson, who represents a political faction opposed to Henyard and Dalton, says it's clear the billboards are promoting more than township services. He says they're essentially campaign ads.
So what they're alleging, which I basically agree with, what they're alleging is that, and if you look at the sign, her name is the biggest thing on the sign. It's not the services, it's not the thing, it's not whatever it is, right? And it's very unfortunate because I don't know who's in this woman's circle. I don't know who's standing next to this woman and helping her, or is she just that bullheaded to where she just won't be quiet long enough for this whole thing to die down, so then she don't have this visibility. I know she's stressed out. She got to be stressed out over there. I know she got to be, you know what I'm saying, pulling her hair out or losing sleep and all of this stuff or whatever, so on and so forth, because now you got the entire internet on your head and you got the regular national news or whatever, and people are paying attention. So when you're promoting something under the guise that you're promoting a service, but in reality, you're promoting you. So this is called what I call a white lie. It's a white lie promotional tactic, marketing tactic, right? In which you can justify, or you try to justify, using public tax dollars. Now remember, guys, this is not coming out of your pocket. It's already egregious enough that you are doing this and you're not just being quiet long enough to be able to let stuff die down and people to stop tracking your every movement and behavior and putting you on a radar, the FBI and all of this stuff, right? It's not enough for you to just be quiet. But not only that, you're using city services and tax dollars to do it.
This is a blatant attempt to promote herself politically. The township should not have paid for these if they did, and I'm sure they did.
They did indeed. Bills obtained by Fox 32 under open records laws shows Thornton Township paid more than $10,000 for the vinyl signs themselves and more than $12,000 to Clear Channel Outdoor Advertising for 1 month's rental of the billboards.
I can't. I don't understand what's wrong with y'all. Do you not see, and are you not paying attention to the fact that you are literally under a microscope? And what do? You go and throw your entire name up on a billboard under the guise of advertising for the city, yet you're the one that's getting the visibility for it. Your name is the one that's at the top of it.
Month's rental of the billboards. What was your reaction when you saw it?
Well, first of all, I didn't know anything about them.
Thornton Township trustee Chris Gonzalez says the board was never consulted about the billboards, which he says needed their approval.
Kind of some of the first things that popped in my mind is, what are we doing? This isn't a big sale. We're not selling cars here. I mean, if it's informational, then it should be informational. I mean, there's...
You know what the interesting thing is, and let me tell you the difference between small cities and big cities, because maybe I'm off. This is the difference between small cities and big cities. For larger cities, what happens is they usually have city council, which I'm assuming that this board of trustees is supposed to be serving under the guise of, and I'm not sure if these trustees get paid. I'm assuming that they probably don't. But for larger cities, they have city council members. And what happens is there's a budget fight in order for them to be able to direct where the funds are going, right? So the city council are the ones that basically control the money, not the mayor. The mayor is the one that puts together a proposed budget. The city council is pretty much the person that it runs through. the mayor is usually the person that kind of runs what it is that they're approved for, and they try to do it as efficiently as possible as far as balancing the budget and working for the city council, because they are the face of the city. They're the representation of it. It's similar to what happens with the president, right? The president can, in some instances, through emergency powers or through a crisis, control where it is that they're allocating resources, right? But at the same time, in reality, it's the Congress that really approves or disapproves, and they have a limited amount of power, or the president has a limited amount of power based off of whatever it is that Congress approves. And the reason that they do this is because it's supposed to be checks and balances. It's supposed to be to prevent things like this from happening from people that have an agenda, that have no kind of oversight as to what it is that they're doing or why they're doing it, right? You have to get it approved. You have to allocate monies and resources to certain spaces. But I'm assuming that in these smaller towns, in which I'm not even really familiar, but based off of the research that I've done, that she has autonomy to do whatever it is that she wants to do. And then all they can do is basically call her to the front of the congregation and say, hey, why you spending like this, or why you spending like that? So now there's no checks and balances in order to prevent her from doing the things that she's doing. And she can just throw up a sign and then try to justify it by saying that, well, we did this for the city and this was for the city. But the reality is that you're doing it for yourself. And so when you have little oversight, which a lot of these people really need, what you're really doing is ruining your own life, and you're ruining the lives of the people that's going to actually have to pay for this, which is the residents of the city that's already, on average, I heard, making less than $25,000 per person or per household. Less than. And so she's more concerned, it looks like, with getting reelected and getting visibility for herself, which is probably the worst thing that she can do, than she is about the residents of the city. And it's unfortunate.
So many other ways we could have spent that money that would have, directly helped people.
This isn't the first time Henyard has used taxpayer dollars to burnish her own personal image. In fact, on other occasions, she spent a lot more.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Earlier this year, Fox 32 showed you how Henyard spent tens of thousands of dollars using employees and vehicles from the township and from Dalton, where she also serves as mayor, for a week-long walk to Springfield to promote her self-named cancer charity, which is yet to file required reporting. And you can't turn your head in Dalton or Thornton Township without seeing Henyard's picture or name. It's on all the government-owned vehicles, buildings.
Jesus Christ. If this ain't a form of narcissism, I don't know what is. If this is not okay, let me double check, because I'm going to read the super chat shortly. I just want to double check to see what the average income is in Dalton. The average individual income in Dalton, the median income is $24,218 according to the most recent census. The average individual income in Dalton, Illinois is $24,218. 91.2% Black or African American people, 5% white, 0% American Indian and Alaskan Natives, and 0.2% Asians live in Dalton. 91.2% of the entire population in Dalton is Black people, which tells you that's the reason why she got into office in the first place. And she painted her name on the entire city. Good God. Look at this.
It's on all the government-owned vehicles.
It's on the vehicles. It's on the vehicles. Most people don't even know who their township supervisor is. It's on the vehicles. Good God.
Buildings, even on the rugs in the township, where we found a Tiffany Henyard 2024 calendar featuring all the important dates to remember, including her birthday.
You gotta be kidding me. Her birthday is June 18th. You telling me that I know that her birthday, do you know that my anniversary is June 19th? Yeah, my anniversary just so happened to be on Juneteenth. I ain't playing it that way either. They got her birthday on the calendar. Now, now we know we use that term narcissism very loosely out here in these streets today, but this is crazy.
Would be having a fit if she was my client, telling her not to do this.
Veteran Chicago political consultant Delmarie Cobb says there would be nothing wrong if Henyard were using her own political funds for those promotional materials, especially the billboards.
I actually had a candidate years ago who was running for mayor of Dalton, and that's what we did. We bought billboards along the expressway, because if you're coming and going home all day, and one of the things I always say about billboards is they're working when you're asleep.
In 2011, state lawmakers passed a law banning the practice of politicians putting their names on publicly funded signs, spurred by these tollway signs featuring former Governor Rod Blagojevich. That law does not extend to mayors or other elected officials, but election attorney Odelson believes the billboards do violate state election laws.
It's a crime. Yeah, you're using public funds for something that taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used for.
And just when you think you've seen it all, take a look at this. When the first billboard went up last summer, Thornton was misspelled as Thornton. Another sign had to be ordered, apparently at taxpayer expense.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, my God. This chick is the boss. This is crazy. Unreal.
Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
So far, Henyard has not responded to any of our questions about the billboards. And tomorrow, Dane has another Henyard investigation. This time, he exposes a new law that cuts the salary of the Thornton Township supervisor by $200,000, but only takes effect if someone else gets her job.
This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Let me move forward. Let me read this super chat really quickly, and then we're going to move forward. You can't be this crazy. AL says, how is she not an industry plant? She met him on a set of a movie and starts recording right away. She didn't set him up on her own. She was placed there. By who, Aaron? Give us some evidence and give us some insight, not just speculation. We're not going to gossip. We only go based off of the facts. You know what I'm saying? We don't do it like everybody else do it over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. Anyways, let's continue. So, lately there's been, and so this is going to be a 2-day thing, this next thing that I talk about. Am I going to call her office? They're not going to answer me. Y'all want me to call the office? I don't care. They don't answer me. They're probably watching this right now. Y'all know they're not going to answer. Why am I even wasting my time? I'm not going to call this. All right, I'll call it a little bit. Dalton, villageofdalton.org. Tiffany Dalton, the people's mayor. This chick is all over the website. Good God. First thing I see when I get to the site. More pictures of her. And then another picture of her. And then another picture of her. Wow. And then another picture of her. And then more pictures of Tiffany. Good God. And another one. 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 Does anybody else live in Dalton? And another one. And another one. Is anybody else live in Dalton? Good God. And as soon as you scroll down from the carousel, and it's another one. Jesus Christ. I thought that I loved myself. Hi, I'm sorry. My name is Anton Daniels, and I'm a content creator, and I'd love to get in touch with somebody in order to be able to interview Tiffany if she's available. Is that possible?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. Would y'all think that they was going to say yes? Anyways, next thing on the list, and let me read a couple more super chats. What did y'all think was going to happen? Y'all thought that she was going to be like, yeah, let's kick it. What the hell, says Fimo Nino Brown. Man, she running that mug like the mob. Good God almighty. Tony Williams in the building says, I told you she going to jail. She doesn't even think she's done anything wrong. Good gosh. Hit the likes, y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for the Patreon. All right, so we're going to have a 2-day thing, right, for this next segment. And the first thing that I want to do is I really want to bring y'all up to speed on what the problem is. Tomorrow, we're going to break down exactly what people are doing about the problem as far as tourism. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but it absolutely will make sense once we get to tomorrow's show. So make sure that you're tuning into tomorrow's show, also in addition to today's show. But right now, we all know that Kensington Avenue over in Philadelphia has been at the forefront of the congregation for a long time. I mean, and when I say for a long time, I mean for a long time. So much so to where there's now a tourism industry, especially from TikTokers, which I will detail tomorrow, traveling to Philadelphia. The people are literally going out of their way like they're going over to Cancun or they're going over to Tulum or something, Dubai, and are taking trips over to Philadelphia's Kensington Avenue in order to capture what is happening out there on them streets. But before we get to that tomorrow, I want to bring you guys up to speed on why things are so bad over in Philadelphia and what the streets is really doing about it, all right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
It's an animal tranquilizer that has found its way into heroin and fentanyl supplies in Philadelphia, and it's now spreading across the country. NBC's George Solis traveled to Ground Zero for the dangerous new substance, Philly's Kensington neighborhood, where he spoke with business owners and volunteers on the front lines of this crisis. And we want to warn you, the topics covered here and the imagery as well, it is graphic.
This is an anti-drug ad running in Mexico. It's not warning about places like Tijuana or Juarez, but instead the city of Philadelphia, specifically the Kensington neighborhood.
There are ads literally running outside of the country, basically to let you know and prevent you from getting over to Philly. You know the United States of America is a bad, bad place to be in when there's ads running over in Mexico from the government in Mexico. If you look in the upper left-hand corner of this video, the government of Mexico is sponsoring this video based off of the idea that you need to be very, very careful about what's happening over in the United States of America in Philadelphia. I never thought, honestly, I never thought that I'd see the day in my wildest dreams. And listen, I watched the first season of Narcos. I never thought that I'd see the day in my wildest dreams that the government of Mexico will be running an ad about the dangers of what is happening over in Philadelphia. This country is really going through it, bro. Is really going. I never thought I'd see the day that this type of stuff will be happening. Mexico, the government of Mexico is sponsoring a video to show you what is happening over in Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia.
home to one of the nation's largest open-air drug markets, where drug overdose deaths are skyrocketing, in large part because of a new substance in the drug supply, the powerful animal sedative xylazine, aka Tranq. Store owner Elvis Amancio knows the devastation all too well. He's been cleaning up garbage, human waste, and discarded needles from his storefront every day for more than a decade.
How exhausting is it to have to clean up every single day?
It's a little bit frustrating, you know, that you got to keep doing it.
But he has nowhere to go.
Could there be a point where it becomes too much for you and your family to do this day in and day out?
I would say if any of my family or my employees get harmed, I think I'll think about it.
Tranq first appeared in Philly more than a decade ago, mixed in with heroin and fentanyl, but by 2021, it was found in 90% of all street opioid samples, and it's quickly spread throughout the country, increasing in some regions almost 200%. Tranq over.
And you know, it's so funny. Tomorrow I'm gonna continue over in Philadelphia. Thursday I'm gonna make my way over into New York because now it's really taking hold in New York. And see, this is the problem. When you don't stop it in its tracks, when you don't get to the root of the problem, when you don't address it when you first start seeing it. Shout out to Ashy Knuckles. I'm gonna read that super chat shortly. When you don't address it when you first start seeing it and you don't nip it in the bud, what happens is it starts to spread to your cities. And so a lot of y'all think that you're safe just because, oh, it's contained within Philadelphia. No, it's not. It's going to start to spread over into your cities because, listen, you're not thinking like a supplier. You're not thinking like an opportunist. Remember when some of these things took off, like when chicks first started selling hair bundles and stuff, and then it started off maybe in Atlanta, and then it spread over into Florida or went over to Macon and the small cities, and then started going over into bigger cities and up to Detroit and over to New York. Next thing you know, you had everybody selling bundles, every chick across the United States of America. I remember when I first seen those picture booth things where the thing is going to circle around you and then you be dancing like this and then it go in slow motion. Remember those things when you first seen it, like, oh, that was cool. Next thing you know, every single place and city and crack and crevice that you can possibly find one of those things, you go over there in New York, they got them back to back on the street. I'm not muted. I'm in slow motion. I'm not muted. I'm in slow. Why y'all keep telling me that I'm muted? I'm not muted. I was on the thing. It makes no sound. Good. I'm not muted. I'm not muted. I'm moving in slow motion on a 360 camera booth. Y'all ignorant. But my point is that, let me get back to the point that I was making with regard to Philadelphia. My point is that now, if you paying attention to it, or it's a message of opportunity, it's the same thing with the drug dealers, right? And so they say, well, man, we got it popping over here in Philly on Kensington Avenue. Why wouldn't we be able to take over New York? And ain't nobody over there doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody over there doing it over in Detroit. It ain't nobody else doing it over there in Seattle. And so they start to spread out based off of opportunity. And so it's not just going to stop in your space. It's going to continue to spread. And Philadelphia was just one of the ground zero spaces that it really took hold of.
Overdoses can't be reversed by Narcan, and many users develop flesh-eating infections that can lead to amputation if left untreated. In Kensington, limb-saving care takes place at street level on tables like this.
Have you saved lives on this table?
Yes, we absolutely have. Our team constantly saves lives.
Sarah Laurel runs Savage Sisters Recovery, providing care and housing for addicts and cleanups for the neighborhood. She draws on her own near-death experience with addiction to help those in need.
Seeing my friends on the street with their limbs exposed does not make me want to get high. It does not make me want to use. It makes me want to bring change. And I don't think that anybody could walk out there and see what we deal with on a daily basis and say, I want what they have.
Laurel says the city is ignoring its responsibility to both residents and the unhoused.
They're not coming through for the business owners that have been here. And this us against them mentality is exactly what the city wants. The infighting keeps the focus off of them.
Business owners and nonprofits in Kensington are fighting to promote positive change in the neighborhood with demands for basic needs like housing and funding for health resources. When we reached out, the city pointed to a number of programs and services it's launched to help address the community's needs, including crime prevention tips, storefront improvements, and a security camera program. But many here say it's not making enough of a difference.
The city treats this neighborhood as like the trash can.
Because it is a trash can. Because it is a trash can. Listen, it's really only two ways for you to solve this problem. It's only two ways for you to solve this problem. Now, the first way, I've never seen people actually do it. And so it's impossible, in my opinion, because it's never actually been proven. The first way is for the people to actually get involved and start reporting and taking ownership of what happens within their community and reporting to people that they know is selling the drugs, is bringing in the drugs, or whatever, because it's not a secret. Everybody know where to get it. Everybody know where it's funded. Everybody know where it's coming from. And so it's similar to what we see happening in the healthcare industry. People know what causes you to get, all of the problems that you're having from a healthcare perspective, but they refuse to remove it because it's profitable. The Food and Drug Administration make a lot of money from all of the stuff that they put inside of y'all foods, the processed foods and all of that. And so it's incentivized. And then the doctors are not going to cure you because there's more money in the treatments and solving for the symptoms than it is to actually cure you. Ain't no money in getting you cured. Listen, if I cure you, then you can't come and give me no more money. Same thing when it comes to therapy. I know people that's been going to the same therapist for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Why would the therapist want to lose you as a client when literally every single week you come to them with your problems and express your concerns, and then you come over here and talk about how you keep getting better? Oh, I've made strides and changes. You still are the same you, and you just looking for another opportunity to be able to vent to somebody to make you feel better about yourself. Yet y'all keep telling me, oh no, they give you the tools that you need in order to come and fix yourself. It's not up to them. Sounds like a scam to me. Sounds like a scam to me. And so that's the first way that you do it. The only other way that I can think of that you do it is you flood the streets with police officers. It's actually a third way, but y'all don't want to hear the third way. Is you flood the streets with police officers and you prevent anything from moving without you actually understanding what's going on. So everything gonna have eyes on it. And then the people gonna be mad and they're gonna say, you're removing our right to be able to choose for ourselves. It's martial law. And then the third way is let the city completely eat itself inside out. And then you come in and you gentrify it, and then people get mad at you for buying it for cheap. And then they're gonna say white people came in and took it over, and that we should be making affordable housing for the community. That's the only 3 ways that I've ever seen it change. Either people take control of their own neighborhood and they start reporting to people that's selling the drugs and selling it and doing all of this stuff. Never happens. You go in there with a military movement and nothing moves unless you know what's going on. And so you starve everybody out. And so they move and they go where they can actually participate and do the process instead of where it is that they feel like it's comfortable. Or last but not least, you just wait till they eat themselves out, starve themselves and ruin themselves from the inside out. And then you go and buy it in for cheap and you gentrify it and you make it available to the hippies. And then we all come and live happily ever after. And then we do it again to another city. So that's the only way that I've ever seen it happen.
Moving these people from one block to the other, it's not a solution. We cannot continue ignoring this because these are human beings.
Husband and wife, Dionisio and Mariangeli, must ask addicts to move away from their award-winning restaurant, Cantina La Martina, nearly every day.
These people have feelings, like they're human beings. They'll understand, they'll apologize, they'll pick up their things, and they'll leave, and they're sorry. Even
though Cantina was named a James Beard Award finalist, they say some food vendors won't even come to the restaurant because of the scene outside. Instead of being frustrated, Dio and Mariangeli feel that advocating for their community and those struggling with addiction has become part of the restaurant's mission.
We are here because we are business owners, but we're also here because we have a social responsibility.
You can't help them. You're not fixing nothing. You're not fixing nothing. It takes the people to actually get involved.
The Cantina, a pop of color amidst the dark depths of addiction.
Look at that crazy crap.
And George Solis joining us now. I get.
I'm going to Philly. That's going to be one of the first stops that I make next year. One of the first stops that I make next year is right over to Kensington Avenue.
Business owners, they want to stay invested in neighborhoods like this, even though all this is going on around them. But with that in mind, how are they surviving?
Yeah, Yasmin, it's the cost of doing business in the Kensington section of Philadelphia. A lot of business owners there call it the Kensington tax. So, for example, you have insurance. Now, some business owners say they simply can't get anyone to insure them, but others say they can, just at a higher premium. As far as that conversation about food vendors, well, a lot of business owners and restaurateurs, they have to work out deals with vendors to meet them at different locations so that they can get some of their supplies. And of course, this is all coming out of their pocket. Nobody's compensating them for this, but it's what they have to do to survive. And another big issue for a lot of the businesses down there are these encampments that are set up in front of storefronts. And you heard there in that story that sometimes they just have to have a conversation with them and move them. Now, sometimes the city will come in and also provide eviction notices, but it all depends on how long these encampments, these tent cities, if you will, have been set up. Bottom line here, a lot of these business owners say they want to work with the neighborhood. They don't want to do it by being hostile to the people. They want everyone to basically work together, and they hope that the community will respond in kind.
Yeah, good luck with that. I can't wait to head over to Kensington. Oh, I'm going to the darkest places in the streets. I'm going to the border. I'm going to Kensington. When I do my tour, it's not only going to be fireside chats for us to be able to kick it in person, but I'm also going to be documenting what's going on in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Let me read a few of these super chats, and then I'm going to move over into the last segment of the show that I want to tackle before we get up out of here. Shout out to Ashy Knuckles in the building. I appreciate you. Ain't nobody coming to get my stuff. I move with security. Civ Lap says, Mayor Adams need to sponsor some fake ADs in Mexico with the same images might be the answer to our current migrant problems. Interesting. Funny that you bring up Mayor Adams. We're going to address him tomorrow. Mike Jones is in the building. Shout out to my dog, Mike Jones. I appreciate you, big dog. With the 20 ball says, hey, Anton just got off of work, catching the show late. Your story on Philly is art imitating life. Ice Cube did a song about this on his Death Certificate album. I know. Where he had the foot sticking out on the album cover or whatever like that. Yeah, I remember that. Shout out to my dog, Mike Jones. I appreciate you for coming through. Let me go into this last segment to the show, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here for the day, all right? You know I couldn't go without bringing my dog to the front of the congregation. If we're going to have a congregational show, if we're going to have a congregation-filled show, I can't let this show go on and be finished without making sure that I bring my number one congregational contributant to the front. I know that you thought that it was going away, but it's not. I know that you thought that I forgot about him. Oh, it's not. I'm not cursing motivation. Go ahead and bring your daughter out to the front. Your daughter needs to hear this. I ain't cursed not one time in this entire show. I know you thought it was over, but it's not. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Mayor Johnson, similar to Tiffany Henyard, cannot stay off of the microphone. Cannot stay off the microphone, but he's recently addressing some issues that are coming to the forefront of the congregation at his doorstep. Let me show you what's happening over there in Chicago. Shout out to Chicago. This one is for Aaron.
New at 6 on the migrant crisis, the Chicago Department of Public Health now telling us they are dealing with chickenpox cases at several shelters, including the one where a 5-year-old died and 3 other children and an 18-year-old are hospitalized.
What they are not saying is if the 5-year-old died from chickenpox. This is happening at the shelter on Halstead in Pilsen. CBS 2's Sabrina Franza is on top of the story for us tonight.
We watched as an ambulance picked up yet another person from that shelter. By our count, at least 6 people were taken from there to the hospital. 5 children and 1 teenager. A 5-year-old died. The mayor was asked about those children today.
They're showing up sick. Are you hearing me? They're showing up sick.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says the city is doing what it can.
The issue is not just how we respond in the city of Chicago, it's the fact that we have a governor, an elected official in the state of Texas that is placing families on buses without shoes, cold, wet, tired, hungry.
Working to help families who are seeking asylum.
Sounds like we got beef. Sounds like Greg Abbott over there in Texas said, yeah, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll be your Huckleberry. This is Tombstone. This is Tombstone. The fight is borders protection in sanctuary cities. The weapon of choice, migrants. They said, if you're not going to stand with us, then that means that you're standing against us. And Greg Abbott not only employed his own state to continue to prevent what's happening at the border, but he said, if y'all want to come in here and y'all want to keep supporting, keeping the borders open, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that you get what you're asking for. You said you were a sanctuary city, then I'm going to make sure that you provide. The Lord doth provide. And so now we starting to throw names and sling mud when kids start to die from chicken pox under your care.
Estoy muy preocupada. Like one woman, she asked us to hide her identity. She's living in the same shelter as was 5-year-old Jean Carlos Martinez Rivero, a little boy who was rushed to the hospital and then died. Witnesses say there was a call for help, but that his family was denied immediate medical assistance. She claims many kids in the Pilsen warehouse turned housing facility have fever, stomach pain. This mother of 2, who also asked we shield her identity, had to send her 1-year-old daughter to the hospital in an ambulance this weekend after multiple requests. I had both children with a fever, she says, but was told there was no reason to call an ambulance. She says this wasn't the first time they've had to go to the hospital since they've been in Chicago. She tells us she's asked to move, but claims her request was laughed at.
Mayor Brandon Johnson said that he wanted to address this directly. So let me go ahead and show y'all what Brandon Johnson had to say about this whole situation directly from the horse's mouth. Again, make sure y'all get the likes up because they're a little low. But let me show y'all what Brandon Johnson had to say about this.
They're showing up sick. Do you hear me? They're showing up sick.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon.
You only recently were able to clear migrants out of the police stations, but now it appears that the flow is back and there are migrants at police stations again, and there are now reports that the buses that could be subject to seizure or towing if they don't obey the rules are starting to leave people outside of Chicago and giving them train fare to get into the city. First off, what do you think about that tactic, and what can the city do?
Well, first of all, this international...
Shout out to Ms. Crotty Shetty. I'm going to read that shortly.
...crisis that the entire world is dealing with, the type of chaos that's being administered at the border is what we're working to solve. And from the very beginning, the buses coming from Texas have not centered people's humanity, and it's actually been quite raggedy. What I've attempted to do, because it's important in this moment, because the entire world is reeling for answers. The city of Chicago is providing some structure and parameters around this mission. That's what leaders do in this moment. And so we've stood up multiple shelters. We have thousands of children who are in our public schools right now. Most of them are in preschool or up to 3rd grade. And, it's disheartening that the governor of Texas is literally invoking chaos without having like a real clear willingness to coordinate. And all.
Let me tell you something. Governor Greg Abbott ain't playing no games with you. Governor Greg Abbott is playing no game. He said, you want to spar? Okay, I'll be your Huckleberry. Greg Abbott is playing no games with these liberal cities and these liberal states. Okay, you don't want to support us, then that means that you're against us, and I'm all for it. I'm all for violence when it comes to legislation that Greg Abbott is implementing across what he deems as nobody coming to the aid and trying to close off the borders in order to get federal funding. He said, okay, well, y'all going to leave us for dead? Watch how we play this. You going to leave us for dead? You thought that was how it was going to happen over here in Texas? Watch how we play this out.
What we simply did, to your question around the ordinance, was to create better coordination. Now, Alderman Hall is here. There were others who went to the border to have conversations at the border. And having coordination is what is the minimum expectation. Now, if you remember, back in May, when I was sworn in, I believe there were almost 900 or so people living in police districts. And I said from the very beginning that this is
Shout
not
out to Ash. I appreciate
dignified.
you. I'm going to read that
And so
shortly.
we've worked hard to eliminate people from living on floors who are showing up in Chicago in some of the worst health conditions. And I did get
But guess what? You didn't support legislation against having our borders closed off in the first place. You said we a sanctuary city. You supported Biden. When Biden said that we not going to build another inch of border fence, yet we going to allocate billions and billions of city money for y'all to be able to manage through this crisis, you ain't say nothing. You had nothing to say whatsoever. And Greg Abbott, and to a larger extent, Ron DeSantis said, not only are we going to drop them off in your city, we dropping them off at Cam's house. We going to drop them off in California. We going to fly them over into Chicago, New York, all of that. And so now you, Greg Adams, Mike Johnston, Brandon Johnson, the Atlanta mayor, the people over there in San Francisco, LA, all of y'all places, now y'all starting to feel the pain that Texas has been feeling for decades. And when I say decades, decades. And so because you stood against it, now you have to embrace it so that you can see what they've been going through. And I'm going to tell you this is a battle that you're going to lose. This is a battle that you're going to lose. And the reason that you're going to lose this battle, my friend, unfortunately, is because you have no way to continue to support yourselves in the ongoing busing and flying of migrants over into your city and the continuous need of using resources or needing resources in order for you to be able to maintain it. You are going to lose 10 times over. Not only are you going to lose, you're going to bankrupt your city, you're going to ruin it for the residents of Chicago, and it's going to be even worse than it was when y'all just had Chief Keef over there running it up at Chirac. King Von, you ain't seen nothing. Chief Keef, that's that I don't like. That's that I don't like. See, y'all thought that Twister was the man. Do or die, Twister, yay. P-O-P-I-M-P-I-G. Be learning these chicks biology. And obviously, well, P-O. Do you want to ride in the backseat of a caddy and chop it up with do or die? Do you want to ride in the backseat of a caddy? It was 6:00 p.m. Move to the road with a 3 grams to the 3 grams. Truing on a weed stem. Move to the left so I can see who was dipping that pole pimp. Breathe to the road with a slow limp. Yeah, you thought it was cool because they was just talking about riding the side with the back of their Cadillac. And then all of a sudden, you seen that's that I don't like. Boom. And I'm going to tell you that whatever it is that you thought that you was facing during that time ain't got nothing on Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott is going to make you pay. He's going to make you pay. He don't play fair. He don't play fair.
Reports that there are about 20 people, I believe, that are scattered throughout the city of Chicago and police districts, and we'll respond to it. But again, a month ago, there were 4,000. Look, Alderman Burnett has already expressed this. It wasn't a failure to acknowledge our victories. Sometimes we do so much, we don't keep track of the work that we're doing. We just do it. And no matter how contrite, that sometimes, people are in this moment, it doesn't, excuse the poor behavior that's coming from Texas. And so we're going to continue to provide structure and order and direction in this moment because that's what the people of Chicago deserve and that's what we're giving them.
Mayor, the shelter at Halstead and Cermak, a 5-year-old boy was there shortly before he died this weekend. There have been reports that their conditions are unsafe, unsanitary. Do you have confidence that that shelter is safe for people to live? I believe there's over 2,000 people living there.
Well, again, let me just emphasize again, the conditions in which people are arriving in Chicago are quite disturbing. The people who are at the border sleeping outside in the cold, out in the rain, trekking through thousands of miles of jungles, being forced on buses without any clear direction of where they're going. And while children and women were living on floors in police districts, and my administration eliminated that practice, there were ambulatory runs, 911 calls, because again, people are showing up in very extreme circumstances, very, very unhealthy. And so what I'm confident is that all of our levels of government are coming together to provide support for these individuals who are seeking asylum. And we're going to continue to assess our work as we move forward. And of course, we're providing support for the family. And we are obviously deeply sorry and hurt by this loss. And it's not lost on any of us here that the conditions in which people are showing up in Chicago, they're worse. The last reporter just indicated, they're just dropping all people anywhere. Do you understand how raggedy and how evil that is? You're just gonna put people on a bus and just take them somewhere and drop them off in the middle of the night?
Yep.
And then you wanna hold us accountable for something that's happened down at the border? It's sickening. And so, but just know that our work is not done. But let's be very clear. You know where this is promulgating from, right? You do know that, right? That you have a governor in Texas that can care less about those families and literally dropping them off, not just in Chicago, but anywhere and everywhere. It's wicked.
God can't help you, big dog. I know what Common just told me. Common said you about to take the L like Canarsie.
We're gathering information, as I've said before, at every single site throughout the city of Chicago. We provide on-site medical care. In fact, the county government has just put forth more dollars for more health care. But I want you to hear me good. They're showing up sick.
Oh, I got another one for y'all. Hold on.
Do you hear me? They're showing up sick. The issue is not just how we respond in the city of Chicago, it's the fact that we have a governor, an elected official in the state of Texas that is placing families on buses without shoes, cold, wet, tired, hungry, afraid, traumatized, and then they come to the city of Chicago where we have homelessness, we have mental health clinics that have been shut down and closed. You have people who are seeking.
Hold on. You know we got to put the Pied Piper up here. I forgot about the Pied Piper. Woo! TP2.com. Hit it hard from the back. You remind me of my Jeep. Oh no, I'm gonna just give him a. Hold on, I gotta hook him up. How y'all want me to, what kind of picture y'all want me to put up here? Hold on, let me get Brandon Johnson back going.
Employment. The governor of Texas needs to take a look in the mirror of the chaos that he is causing for this country.
Oh.
This is not just a Chicago dynamic. He is attacking our country. The sensibility and the civility of our country, he is undermining that.
It's
all good. We good. Yes.
What kind of picture y'all want of R. Kelly up there? Pied Piper. I know what I'm gonna do. R.
More
Kelly.
ambulances show up there. Is it time to reevaluate using these warehouses as places for shelter activities?
I got y'all.
So I want to make sure I understand your question.
I'm working.
Hold on. I got you. I just want to repeat back to me. I'm going to repeat to you what I believe you're asking me. You're asking me, based upon an out-of-control governor who is sending busloads of people all over the country, you're asking if Chicago should evaluate how it handles the migrant crisis?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
What I'm saying is...
Ooh, you aggressive, ain't you?
One death at this particular shelter.
Hold on, I got y'all. Let me get the Pied Piper.
This morning, while we were there, we saw people coming
I had to
out
make some
sick.
adjustments.
Does the city need to reevaluate the practice of using warehouses, which were never designed for human habitation, as a solution in the migrant?
As I said before, they are showing up sick. Listen, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds
Who
like
else
you're
y'all
drawing a
think
conclusion
deserve to be up
based
here?
upon
Lupe?
a site. What I'm simply saying is when they
Lupe?
get here, hold on. Listen, I am saying that they're showing up sick. Are you hearing me? They're showing up sick. And so we're doing everything in our power to treat the conditions in which they're arriving in. As far as us reevaluating our mission, look, an international crisis of global population shift based upon policies that have been promulgated for the last 20 years that have caused not just the sanctions, but have caused displacement for the entire globe. I just want us
Ain't
to
this the
understand
Chicago All-Star
we are
game
not
right here?
alone in this crisis. There are hundreds of thousands
Chance
of
the
people
Rapper,
being
y'all want
displaced
Chance
from the
up there?
continent of Africa, from Central and South America. So this question about reevaluating, how about we do this? How about we reevaluate all of our international policies that are causing the chaos that we're experiencing right now, and let's evaluate the sanctity of someone in Texas who disregards people. That's what we should be reevaluating.
This is the All-Star game of Chicago, featuring Brandon Johnson.
They have said repeatedly that they've asked to get access to the
I think that Brandon Johnson is absolutely one of the most idiotic mayors that I've ever seen in my entire life. And so this is the All-Star game right here. You got Chief Keef, Ye, Common, Twista, King Vaughn, Kels. But we got to get Kels in his Kels is in his jail suit on this one. Y'all want me to put Obama up there? All right, I got y'all. Hold on. Let me let him talk for a little bit.
sites to help provide medical care, and that they've been denied that
King.
repeatedly by the city. As Charlie pointed out, there have been a number of ambulance runs today after this 5-year-old child had died. It's led people to tell us.
Hold on, I'm about to make him reach out for Brandon Johnson. Give me a second. I got you.
So there are volunteers that want to provide medical assistance?
Hey!
Are these, hold on a second. Are these medically trained volunteers?
Jesse Smollett should be on
I'm
here
not
too.
aware of any medical
Polo G.
volunteers that want to go into sites to provide medical care. I'm not aware of that. So hold on.
I can't even see myself no more.
There are medically trained volunteers who want to provide medical support inside of shelters.
Who else needs to be up here making sure
I don't
that
know where you're
Brandon
getting that
Johnson
information
explains
from.
to
What
us
I can
what's
say
going
is
on?
this, that the conditions in which people are arriving in, there is no secret that they have been showing up sick. That's not a secret. There's been ambulatory runs even at police districts. This is not new information. What we're clear about is that until we get a real handle on what is happening internationally, the city of Chicago, the city of Denver, the city of New York, and all these other cities in which this raggedy governor in Texas
wait. No, you didn't just say raggedy governor. No, you didn't. Disrespect our good
shipping
governor.
to other cities in Chicago,
Listen to what he's saying.
the city of Denver, the city of New York, and all these other cities in which this raggedy governor in Texas is shipping people across the world, and particularly throughout the country. Until we get a handle on that, we're going to constantly be placed in a position where we're going to have to come up with innovative approaches to address this migrant crisis. And let me.
How disrespectful. No, he did not say raggedy governor. When we got all-stars up here, we got Kels, Twista, King Vaughn, Kanye, Common, Chief Keef, Obama. We got the whole Chicago conglomerate up here. And you sat here and you got disrespectful and you called Governor Greg Abbott raggedy. He called Governor Greg Abbott raggedy. I can't believe it. Y'all think the brat should be going up there? Should we put the brat pregnant up there? All right. Listen. I got to get y'all up out of here. I'm having too much fun. I got to read all of the super chats. So let me get all of Chicago's finest from up here. Because then y'all going to be saying Anton is bullying. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not bullying. I just wanted to recognize all of Chicago's finest for Aaron over here, all right? Let me read some of the super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here. Christmas. Crow T. Shetty is in the building. I appreciate you. Ash. 80 in Justin. Shout out to Brandon Johnson and all of my Chi-Town brothers and sisters. Please do a quick rendition of Do or Die by Crew. No, I'm not going to continue to perform for y'all, but I do appreciate you, Ash. Jennifer Hudson. Y'all got to tell me everybody that's from Philly tomorrow, because we're going to bring Philly up to the front of the congregation. Easy Money says nothing but success to you, my friend. Thank you. Jacqueline Moore is in it. Oh, man, Jacqueline threw that 20 ball up there. It says, NY Mayor Adams and this joker are no match to Abbott. He played them out, and they look stupid. He played chess, and they was playing checkers. Darnell, what up, Darnell in the building says, I'm thinking about paying for mentorship in commercial real estate. It's a tax write-off and can help me fail in a controlled environment. What's your opinion / experience on mentors, time? I think that you should limit, and I think you should set a budget that you would want to spend every month on commercial real estate. First, before you start to get mentorship, I think that you should do some research yourself, because mentorship is to guide you through things that you don't know. And so if you're going to get mentorship, which I'm an advocate for mentorship, and let me give you that little bit of bounce. If you're going to get mentorship, then I think you should get mentorship so that you are already participating in it, not so somebody can teach you how to do it. I think it's a great investment, but I think you should do it strategically. Make sure you get into it. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you understand it. Make sure you go to the library, get the books that you want to get, whatever, so on and so forth. But make sure that you do it as a guiding principle to prevent you from falling, getting into the pitfalls that you otherwise wouldn't have been into. And it can save you a lot of money. It's going to pay for itself, and you can get it as a tax write-off. So I'm absolutely in favor of it. So shout out to you for being smart. My girl, Rita! Shout out to Rita Cameron, baby girl in the building. I appreciate you for always tuning in and making sure that we blessed here on this Tuesday afternoon of the 19th of December going into the new year. LLC is in the building, says, I was in a bad mood until thanks for making me laugh my A off with the live graphic design skills of Brandon Johnson with his triangle-shaped head. Shout out to the people. We like to have fun up here. We don't even just want to just talk about different issues and stuff, because it's been too much stuff that's been bad happening to people. So sometimes we want to have a little bit of fun at the end of the show. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ash as 80. Thank you for your rendition tributes to Chicago. Bring that mess. Bring that mess. Bring that mess. It's wild that they open warehouse for them, but not all the homeless here. How about y'all close the border? And then we saw for what's happening on our own shores. You know where this don't happen at? This don't happen in the UAE. This don't happen in Dubai. This don't happen in Singapore. They nipped that. You can't even spit on the ground and throw your gum down without being arrested. McCall Faith and Fitness and Motion says, don't mess with Texas. I love the show. I love Texas. Shout out to my Texas family. Court Smith is in the building, says, Governor Abbott should get Governor of the Year this year. Absolutely. Do they have a Governor of the Year award? Spaces is in the building, says, first up for rep in Philly is Will. Oh, man, we got to make sure that we highlight Will Smith. I agree. Empire Foundation says, I'm tired of you throwing shots. Says, Kels, but you acting like a thought. Brandon, you need to get the hell on. Kels, but you know you're damn wrong. Shout out to my dog Empire Foundation in the building. I appreciate you for holding this down, my friend. Listen, y'all, listen. Listen. You guys are awesome. I mean, absolutely the greatest audience that I'd ever heard in my entire life. Because chat lives matter, your lives matter, and more importantly, I really do value what it is that you guys contribute into the platform. Can I ask you one more question? 2 more questions? 3 more questions? I promise it's only 3. The first one that I want you to do is I want you to go and get that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Teach. Ladies, get it for you fellas. Fellas, don't wait for your ladies to get it for you. Second thing that I want you to do, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat so you can align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Absolutely. And then the third and the final thing that I would love for you guys to do, make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. I think that you guys are awesome, but I also want to share this with people that may not be familiar with what it is that we do here on the Millionaire Morning Show. Same time tomorrow. We're going to get it in. We're going to run up the check, and we're going to do what we do. I hope that I provided for y'all some entertainment along with some insight during this show. I love you guys. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Peace.